Yeah, I was an amateur, I was a pro. Yeah, I didn't achieve the levels of fame. But yeah, I've definitely been in the game a long time.
Listen, man, anybody that steps into that ring gets our respect, no matter what.
Yeah, well, Kendall knows.
Yep,
Yeah, yeah.
KG
I know a
knows.
little.
Welcome to the Ring with the Parlay with your hosts, Kendall Gill and Tilo, where they duke it out over the current events of the sweet science. Moderated by Mindy Bryant, with correspondent Alex Correa of the Squared Circle Report. Sponsored by 6040.
What up, y'all? Welcome into the Parlay alongside 15-year NBA veteran, as always, Mr. Kendall Gill himself. So, KG, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. How about you, man?
We're good. We're virtual today, man. It's kind of weird, right?
We are virtual, but we gotta get with the times, man. Because a lot of these guys they do stuff virtually now, so we gotta do it as well. We gotta step up our game.
Absolutely. Well, one guy who does really good job virtual online, doing great numbers on Instagram, on YouTube as well. We got Marco Boxing in the building today with us. Pleasure to have you with us today to talk the current events of boxing and what's going on. And we already have breaking news in this episode. But Marco, first, before we get into that, thank you for being with us, man. We appreciate you.
Of course, man. I appreciate you guys having me. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
And former boxer. I'm sorry, Marco.
Yeah, I was an amateur, I was a pro. Yeah, I didn't achieve the levels of fame. But yeah, I've definitely been in the game a long time.
Listen, man, anybody that steps into that ring gets our respect, no matter what.
Yeah, well, Kendall knows.
Yeah,
Yeah,
KG
I know a
knows.
little. Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, you had more pro fights than I did. You didn't have any amateur fights though, right?
No, I didn't have any amateur fights, but I had 4 pro fights, and my amateur experience came in the gym. So and I had hundreds of sparring sessions and things like that. So, I got my pound of flesh, as they say.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean that was the same thing with me. Like I only had about 12 amateur fights, not a lot of pro fights, but in the gyms constantly since I've been 13. I'm 47 now.
Yeah,
So yeah, so you get a lot of experience. You see a lot of things in
yeah,
the
you
gym.
do.
Yeah.
You do. Yeah.
Well, total respect to both of you.
Thank you.
I've trained, and that's as far as I've gone. But getting in the ring with somebody is the real deal. So I do respect both of y'all very, very much. In regards to breaking news, we did mention as soon as we got on here, we got word that Tyson Fury just got cut on his right eyebrow, and we're gonna show you a picture of that here as we're talking, but. Incredible, as this fight was supposed to happen February 17th against Usyk. This was very highly anticipated. Both had talked a lot. Usyk moving up to heavyweight has looked spectacular, and Anthony Joshua, obviously with his losses, those fights couldn't go through with Tyson Fury. Wilder and Fury did their thing already, and then of course you have all the other heavyweights in the mix, like Andy Reeves, kind of not fighting and being active, and so this fight in the heavyweight division we were looking forward to, but now he's cut. The gash is huge. They've already officially said that the fight is going to be postponed. We'll see what happens. But Marco, what are your thoughts on that?
That sucks. You know what I mean? That's well, so I'm thinking about this right as you're talking about it, and I'm like, normally when you spar, you wear headgear, right? For that reason, if anything, sparring does reduce the blow a little bit, right? Excuse me, headgear reduces the blows a little bit, but the main reason for headgear, for everybody watching, is to prevent cuts, especially when a fighter has a big fight coming up. That's sometimes I'll wear the headgear you guys see that has the bar across the face. You ever see those?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That it's nose being broken as well. That's usually just for guys about to fight. So I'm curious, what were the circumstances and to obtain this cut?
Yeah, because I've seen Tyson Fury spar without headgear, and that possibly could be the case. Sometimes top guys do. Mike Tyson used to do it sometimes. Spar without headgear. I've seen guys in the gym spar without headgear. I don't think it's very smart, especially when you're coming up to a fight. But the way that the location of the cut, it lends to not having headgear on, because I mean he got cut right here in the eye. Normally, your headgear protects that part of your eye. So if that is true, man, what a mistake, because this fight with Usyk, everybody wants to see, and yes, Usyk beat uh, uh, did a wonderful job coming up from cruiserweight. Did a great job against Anthony Joshua twice, and I think that still there are some questions out there whether Alexander Usyk is the true lineal heavyweight champion of the world. Because Anthony Joshua, I believe, is great, but they want to see him defeat the guy who's undefeated, which is Tyson Fury, which is why I think this fight was so important. You got a great smaller guy against a great big guy, which is why I wanted to see the fight. And I think that, with Alexander Usyk's blend of skill, his technique, I think maybe he could overcome the size of Tyson Fury. That's why I was so hyped to see this fight.
So you had Usyk winning?
I didn't have him winning. I just wanted to see whether his skill level could transfer and do the same thing as he did to Anthony Joshua. Because to me, he neutralized all of Anthony Joshua's size when he got in the ring with his skill level and with his footwork, with his boxing ability. I want to see if he could do the same thing with Tyson Fury.
What I'll say is he did do that, but I think that was more testament to Joshua not mauling him, but trying to box him, which was, you saw the difference. Joshua's last few fights, he even made a comment, like his past couple fights, he's been more explosive, more aggressive. But before that, especially the fights with Usyk, he was trying to box with Andy Ruiz in the rematch.
Yeah, he was.
He got knocked out. He was just staying on the outside and he won. But so I think if he would have come forward and tried to maul Usyk, maybe it would have been a little different.
Yeah, I agree, because the times that he let his hands go and he connected with Usyk, it really did affect him. And you look at with Dubois' body shot on Usyk. What if Anthony lands that shot on Usyk? Does it up?
I just put a video out. I don't know if you saw it. It's from an amateur fight between Benavidez and Usyk. They both fought. I don't know if you saw it, but Benavidez was a heavyweight as an amateur.
Yeah.
And he dropped him with a body shot. So this is 3 times we've seen Usyk be dropped to the body.
Right.
Which, 3 times, in the gym it happens here or there, but it seems like it's a point of kryptonite for him.
Antonio Tarver did last week come on a pod. I don't know what it was, but he did say, it's okay to get dropped in sparring. It's okay to get dropped in training camp. Don't get dropped during the fight.
Well, I think it's all about bulk. If this is happening to you in bulk, that's a problem. But I tell everybody, like, guys who get hurt in the ring, wobbled, or maybe go down every now and then, I'm like, people try to use that as like, oh, he got hurt against blah blah. It's like everybody gets hurt every now and then. It's about if it's reoccurrently becoming an issue.
Yeah,
then it's bad.
True.
Ryan Garcia been in the news lately again, and he talked about his weight, his rehydration clause again. Recently and on a pod, I think it was with Coppinger, and he kind of talked about that. But really, the big news with Ryan was that Rolly fight didn't go down, and so now Rolly's fighting Isaac Pitbull Cruz. Mark, I gotta ask you, what route does Ryan go after this? Because Gervonta's not fighting. Gervonta's gonna be very specific about his next 2 fights. Especially with his new, his new spiritual journey he's going through. Like, there's going to be a lot of. He's not going to do much, is what I'm expecting from Gervonta. So with Ryan Garcia, Rolly, that whole mixture of potential fights, what do you see it going now after all this news has popped up, and now that Rolly is fighting Isaac Pitbull?
Well, Ryan is in the rare air to do whatever the hell he wants because he is a draw. And not even a championship level draw. No disrespect to him, because I actually think he's a good fighter, but I think he needs a lot of sharpening, and experience. So he can do whatever he wants. Anybody he fights he'll do well. Yeah, if he brought a tank, which they already fought, that's probably the highest level, but that already happened. Rolly's a good fight because Rolly talks a lot and Rolly's exciting. Like, I think Rolly's actually a good fighter. I don't think he's as amateurish as some people say. I think he's awkward, but he hits hard. So who knows who Ryan could fight? I mean, I think he's negotiating to fight Haney now.
Yeah. Now, if that fight happens, Devin Haney looks superb in his last fight. I mean, he put on a master class of boxing. Now you got two guys that box. I'm still going to go with Devin Haney in that fight. I really like Ryan Garcia, but I still don't think that he's on the level of Devin Haney right now. But I hope that fight happens though.
Yeah, yeah, I hope it happens. I think it is. There was just all this drama recently where, he was supposed to fight him, then he pulled out because he was getting cool with Floyd. Floyd told him fight Rolly first and then take Rolly's belt and then go and fight Haney. It'll build the fight up for against Haney and make it bigger, which Floyd has a point. So he dropped out, but then I don't know what happened, and now then Rolly suddenly turned. Now Rolly's fighting Pitbull, so now Ryan's back to trying to negotiate with Devin. From what I hear, Devin is still open to picking up the negotiations and moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's so much competition at 140.
Mhm.
All of these guys could fight each other, and everybody can make money. And I go back to the days of Roberto Duran, Sugar Ray Leonard, Thomas Hearns, Marvin Hagler, when everybody was fighting each other if you're within the weight class.
Mhm.
And I also go back to like the tournaments like the Super Six, which I loved because it pitted the best 168 pounders against each other. That's
Mhm.
what I would see. What do you think about that, Marco?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they should do a round robin, right? Because
Yep.
you had the four kings, but really, if you include Subriel Matias, right, the Puerto Rican nightmare, you
Yep.
got you got five kings. They should all fight each other, but for one of the first times in history, none of them are fighting each other, and they're all on social media. They're all I call it the A side B side bullcrap. That's what I
Yep.
call it. That's all you hear. The egos are just all out of control, and there's no sanction, there's no union or governing association or body to force them to fight like the NBA or the NFL or whatever. So it's like Marshall's law. They do whatever they want. And now we've gone into a different kind of era where, yeah, the fighters aren't doing what you said. They're not like, I want to fight him. I don't care who it is. I want to prove I'm the best. Sometimes you got to take less money in a fight or concede to negotiations that you don't want to concede to because it's like you're investing in yourself. You're saying, you
Mhm.
know what? I'll take less money this fight. I'll do this or that this fight because then I'm going to hold the cards and then I'll call all the shots.
Yeah, a list of top sports in the United States came out the other day on ESPN, and boxing was not on it, but
I heard
MMA
that.
ninth, eighth, or ninth. Boxing, if we had fights like Errol and Terrence this summer, if we had a number of those fights, types of fights, I believe that boxing can get back into that top 10. What do you think?
I don't know. You know, you probably experience this too, Kendall. I I meet a lot of people. I go around, I talk to a lot of people, and whenever boxing comes up, you just get the feel for how few people know and care. It's just how it is, unfortunately.
Facts.
When
Facts.
Jack Dempsey was one of the most popular people in the whole world, Joe Louis was, Muhammad Ali was,
Mhm.
and it is dropped drastically. I want to say right around the maybe 80s, late 80s, early 90s, it just dropped. And since that point, we've always only had a handful, Mike Tyson, De La Hoya. You've had three or four fighters per generation that anybody's heard of. And I don't know what to do I don't understand why it is like that. Maybe put it on free TV more, but now with the internet, that doesn't even matter. I don't know.
It's tough. Boxing's definitely has shot itself in the foot from promoters to just the fighters itself, and so it's shows like yours, ours, that try to keep it, relevant, and so these fighters, you know, don't help with doing the A B side conversation, right, and having the egos that they have. We know why, they want to protect themselves and so forth, and that you're right. There's no sanctioning body, so we as fans suffer, and fighters I think suffer too, from this. Even the promotional companies. But one promoter who is seems to be really happy recently and just and just I don't know, I just feel like he's in a new season of his life, is Oscar De La Hoya. And last week, Munguia beats John Ryder, I believe in the ninth inning. And I wanted to ask you, I haven't been too impressed with Munguia. He's a talented guy. He's skilled. I think he can be a star. But something tells me that if this competition ratchets up, he's gonna have some issues. Do you feel the same way, or does Munguia impress you?
Is it me or Kendall?
That's you, Mark. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I think your intuition is right. He's good, but there's no bells and whistles there. There's really nothing that you're totally on point. Like your gut feeling is right. I agree. I think he's he's better than average, but I mean Benavidez would wipe the floor with him.
Gobble
You know,
him.
yeah, it would be
Guy will
bad.
gobble him.
I think even Charlo's would beat him, even though
Oh,
Charlo's won. Yeah, so I agree with you. I think I don't know why they're pushing Munguia, but at the same time, he could be competitive and it would be a fight we'd watch, but he doesn't translate into being like the next guy, in that weight. Not to me.
yeah, and Oscar got on at the press conference wanting to fight Canelo on Cinco de Mayo with Munguia. I mean,
I mean, he's trying to make money though. Like I
yeah,
get it. It's goofy to us who know boxing, but
yeah,
he's trying to make himself, like we said, it's floor to the flies in boxing. So everybody has to do what they can, to make money. That's why Rolly is so popular because
mhm,
he talks so much. And
right,
he's smart. I've talked to him. He's actually smart. Like it's definitely a bit of an act.
right,
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
yeah.
Yeah. No, I definitely. Were you gonna say something, KG? I'm sorry.
No, no, go ahead.
Yeah, and I mean, actually, I like Munguia. I think what Munguia has is excitement, right? He has an exciting fighting style, and so he throws a lot of punches. That's something that you can sell. So I mean, they're on the right track. It's just when I think about the competition, I think about Canelo, Benavidez, Charlo. That's where you think about that, and you say, I'm not sure, but he does win, and he stays undefeated, and so Oscar does have somebody in the stable that he can work off of. As I move forward here, I wanted to go to Canelo and Benavidez. Those are two guys that, again, it's been in the news for a while and articles, and we all know that that's the fight that we want to see as fans. Of course, Canelo very mysterious at the moment with his approach on what he's going to be doing. I'm even hearing rumors that he goes and fights Bivol and then maybe Terrence Crawford in September. I mean, rumors are rumors, but really, where do you see Benavidez and Canelo ending up? Do they end up fighting? Do they not end up fighting? Or who are their opponents? Where do you see those two guys going forward?
Well, ESPN, a reliable source, I forget who it was, published that Crawford will be fighting Canelo next. And then I think Charlo after. I think. But Crawford is the next fight.
Mhm.
Benavidez has been the mandatory for I want to say 4 years.
Yeah, been a
4
minute.
years.
It's been a minute.
4 years. How many days is that? 365 times four, whatever that is. 1,000 days almost. So over 1,000 days. So that's what we want to see. But for some reason, Canelo doesn't want to fight him.
Yeah.
I don't like I don't call any fighter scared because as fighters we don't get scared. There might be business decisions that are made, and a lot of the time it's not even you making the decision. I mean, Ken, you probably went through this in your career. Like you got agents, managers, people in your ear telling you, giving you all this advice, and you start being like, okay, well, what should I do? And so I don't know why he's avoiding the fight, but he is. So I don't think
Yeah.
they're going to fight him and Benavidez.
Yeah, I think that he has um, other fish to fry before he gets to Benavidez. He has a fight with Terrence Crawford. That's a possibility. He has a fight with Charlo as well.
Mhm.
He's also got another fight if he wants to with Bevel, which I don't suggest he does. But I think that he sees Benavidez. I don't think, like you said, I don't think he's afraid of Benavidez, but he sees him as a bigger risk where he can make money with these other three fights, then go fight Benavidez.
Yeah.
That's what I think that the plan is. I really like Canelo, but Canelo's getting long in the tooth now.
You know,
He's
to Canelo's defense, he's earned the right to cherry pick his last few fights of his career.
Yeah,
When
course.
Floyd fought Andre Berto and then McGregor, who's not even
yeah,
a boxer, I was like, yeah, Floyd, you fought everybody and their mother, so like you pick who you want. So I don't really criticize Canelo that much for doing that. Although we as fans, we lose out on that. But
Yeah.
mm,
Yeah, I think for legacy purposes, I mean, Canelo wouldn't need to fight Benavidez. The final guy that's there in his I don't want to say generation, but that's in the aura of the champions of that or the top guys in that division. But with Canelo, it's one of those things that you're absolutely right. At this point, he fought. I mean, what he fought 4 times in 1 year, like 3 years ago. And
yeah.
then he had 3 fights 1 year, then two. Like he's done his job, and has definitely entertained the fans as well. Marco, we want to ask you, who's top pound for pound number one in your eyes right now? Who's the guy?
that's a tough one.
It is.
Uh, that's a tough one. Crawford, I got Tank Davis up there, although that's debatable. Um, Benavidez I have up there. Usyk I have up there. You could argue Devin Haney's as well. Inoue. Uh, who's the other one? Um, Canelo still up there. I mean, all those guys, hard for me to say, because everybody says Crawford first, right? Everybody's like Crawford. But if you think about it, Crawford just defeated one generational talent,
Mhm.
like just one, right?
Right.
So how could we really, I need to see more before I would say he's the best fighter pound for pound. Inoue's done more than he has, beaten better fighters, even though they're not as known. Canelo for sure has a better record than Crawford. You can argue, yeah, he lost twice, but it's a tough one.
Resume, yeah.
Yeah. And also when you look at Canelo, he lost to perhaps the greatest fighter of all time, maybe.
Right.
And he went up to 175 and fought Bivol, who's undefeated and may remain undefeated, for the rest of his career because he's a hell of a fighter. Those two losses are to generational talents, like you said. But that brings me back to my next question, Marco. And I'm totally intrigued by this fight. Canelo versus Terrence Crawford. How do you think that fight plays out at 168 if it happens at 168, or do you think it would be at a catch weight if they do decide? Because I think
Well,
to me, I think 168 is too big for Terrence.
well, Canelo made it clear that he wouldn't fight under 168,
Mm.
but Canelo also said that he doesn't really want to fight Crawford. And Crawford initially said he won't go up to 168 now. So there's a lot of mind changing. But if it's fights at 168, if that where the fight is, I have to if you put a gun to my head and force me to bet, I'm betting on Canelo. Um, because the question is this: how does Canelo's punch affect Crawford, right? And how does Crawford's punch affect Canelo? And then also, how could they both take each other's punches? Canelo has proven to get hit dead center right on the button by Triple G and Kovalev and not even blink,
Yeah.
who are way bigger guys than Crawford.
Daniel.
So Daniel Jacobs, so many people. He only got hurt once against Miguel Cotto's brother when he was like 22.
Yeah.
So Canelo's chin is proven, is my point, right? Ironclad. Now Crawford, not only he has a decent chin, but we've never seen him get hit by somebody a good 15, 20 pounds heavier
Yeah.
than his body's used to for his entire career. So those are the questions. Uh, I don't see Canelo getting knocked out. That would be like the lowest probability of anything happening, in my opinion, is Canelo getting knocked out. Canelo getting outboxed is possible. Crawford getting stopped or outboxed, or maybe not outboxed. Crawford getting manhandled, that's possible.
Yeah.
Getting chopped down, but I'd have to lean towards Canelo because not only is Canelo the bigger guy, but he has almost double the fights. Maybe not double, but whatever, 2/3 more. He has a lot more experience.
Yeah.
And that means and on the big stage. on like the biggest stage possible, you know. So I'd have to lean towards Canelo.
Yeah, and you know what? That's the type of fight when we talk about bringing boxing back. That's the type of fight that brings boxing back because I don't care, when people say, "Oh well, MMA outdraws boxing and everything." Not when we have a big fight. Okay, when we have a big fight, boxing far outperforms MMA, and everybody tunes in. And football players, basketball players, baseball players, movie stars, everybody is tuned into a big fight, and that's the type of fight that we need for boxing to bring it back into the mainstream. Fights like that.
Yeah.
As you can tell, Marco, we're huge boxing fans, man.
Yeah, yeah. I've
And
gathered.
being from Chicago, we actually had Kenneth Sims Jr. on last week talking about Chicago boxing and kind of how Chicago is not really looked at as a boxing town, and there's not many fights that come here. Marco, where are you from again?
Hell's Kitchen, New York City.
Okay, New York, New York. So, as a New Yorker, let me ask you. We got like 5 minutes here. As a New Yorker, when you think of Chicago, you don't think boxing, do you?
No.
Yeah.
I think of the nightmares the Bulls gave me when I was a kid, and I think of deep dish pizza, and I think of wind.
Okay, see, all right. So let's go back years ago. Sugar Ray Robinson used to fight here all the time.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he did. Muhammad Ali lived here back in his days. So boxing has a rich tradition here in Chicago. It's just that nobody comes here to fight anymore. Back in the old days when they fought at Chicago Stadium. I believe Sugar Ray Robinson, Jake LaMotta fought here a couple times.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's
So yeah, man, and actually, T-Lo, I actually used to when I played for the New Jersey Nets. I lived in Hell's Kitchen for 6 years. I lived right on 43rd and 11th Avenue.
Okay.
okay.
Right
Yeah, I grew up on 50th and 11th.
Oh, okay. Do you remember that Market Square Diner? I believe it was right there on 43rd and 43rd and 11th, right there. I used to get every day because I did not.
So wait a minute. So Marco, was KG giving y'all nightmares too from the Nets to the Knicks during that time?
Couple times.
A little bit, yeah, a couple times. But the worst the Knicks got it was from the Bulls, I want to say.
Yeah, you still have nightmares about that Charles Smith rebound and getting rejected 4 or 5 times.
And what's even worse, a few years later, I thought the Knicks had a squad to possibly beat that 98 Bulls. But then the fight happened, remember? And then got suspended. That was awful. And then even the Rockets.
Yeah, the Rockets.
Starks says that shot felt good. If it goes in, that's it.
Right. I mean, I think Starks goes 1 for 18 in Houston or something like that.
Yeah, two for 18, I think it was. Yeah,
2 for something like that. Yeah. But hey, Tilo, we gotta ask Marco about something that I thought I wasn't for sure about this fight, but I was riding with Errol Spence so heavy.
Yeah.
Fight against Terrence Crawford, and so was Tilo. Because I thought
you guys bet on it?
No, we didn't bet on it, but I mean, I just thought that Errol, being the true 147-pound guy, being that he threw 100 punches around, being that he constantly, with his activity rate, that Terrence would not be able to keep up with him. But Terrence Crawford proved to me, man, that he was a hell of a fighter. And I've heard you talk to Derek, and I'm in communication with Derek sometimes too. Derek James, Errol's trainer. But what do you think happened in that fight? Because actually, when I was watching Errol walk into the arena, I was like, it's something off about Errol. I didn't know. I was like, is that the real Errol Spence that we're seeing? Because now that I hear I heard yesterday that the rematch is off. I feel robbed because I don't think I saw the real Errol Spence step into the ring with the real Terrence Crawford.
Well, I agree with you, and this is something that Errol Spence definitely looked off. He had heavy eyelids. He was slow in his speech. He was slow in his movements. Since the fight, a few things have come out. Either painkillers or marijuana for pain for broken ribs.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And he looked high. I mean, and then you're just like, why would you smoke before the biggest fight of your life? So it was one or the other. He definitely looked off. He also looked, not only did his face look off, like his eyelids were very heavy and he slowed, but he was slower in the ring and also a lot less sturdy. Like it's almost like he could go
Yeah.
and he was like
Yeah.
falling over.
Yeah.
So so there was something off. But here's the problem. A lot of people, and I, by the way, for the record, I was going for not going for, I was betting on Terrence to win, but I had it razor close.
Okay.
If I had to pick, I was like, I think Terrence will edge him out. But a lot of people, when you say that, think you're discrediting Terrence. And the reason why it's not a discredit to Terrence is if this would have been a close fight, I would have been like, oh, well, if he just would have corrected that one thing he did, the weed he smoked, or not did that. But this was such a dominant, lopsided victory. I think Terrence would have won, even if Errol was at his best. So that's why I don't want to see the rematch because it wasn't even close. Like it wasn't even close. Like, as a matter of fact, I challenge you guys. You guys are big boxing fans. Name one other mega fight that was that lopsided. That was, can you name one?
Only thing on Holmes Ali when Ali was just done.
Yeah, but nobody thought Ali would really win that. Like
Yeah, yeah,
a mega fight. The one I could think of, Pacquiao versus De La Hoya. That might be
yeah,
one.
yeah.
Pacquiao beat the crap. Even Tyson Lewis, maybe people thought Tyson had more of a chance.
He had a chance, yeah.
But,
But Tyson still didn't get beat like Errol got.
no, nope. I can't think of one. I mean, Floyd versus Corrales was. I don't think that was a mega fight, but that was. If you remember that one,
Yeah, but Floyd blew him out. Yeah, I can't think of one. Which is why I want to see the rematch because I want to see Errol 100% in there. I know what you're saying, but I believe if he's 100%, like I told Tilo, if the Errol shows up that fought Chris Algieri, if the Errol shows up that fought let me see, who did he fight? Fought his friend a couple years back.
Order?
Not Porter. He has a brother. He fought him in DC.
Somebody that Errol fought?
Yeah, somebody Errol fought. But anyway, we can go with Chris Algieri. I felt if the Errol shows up that fight Chris Algieri, he'll win. But I haven't seen that Errol since the car accident.
Yeah, I don't think that would happen. And Errol recently has come out finally, and he went on a bit of a, you saw it, a bit of a Twitter rant or whatever it was, Instagram, saying that the reason he got hit was because he had a cataract. He just had cataract surgery, and then I don't live a fighter's lifestyle. It's about time it caught up to me, and that might all be true, but yeah, I don't think. And I didn't like. Go ahead.
So it was this Kell Brook, Lamont Peterson, Mikey Garcia.
Lamont Peterson.
Okay, Lamont Peterson, yeah.
Okay. Guy showed up. Well, you could say Chris Algieri, Lamont Peterson, Kell Brook. If that Errol showed up, I thought that he would beat Terrence Crawford. But
even versus Ugas, he looked amazing.
Yeah, but you know what? The guy that fought Ugas, I thought that he was susceptible to punches. He kept leaning in. Yeah. That's what I was worried about. Even Danny Garcia, just kept, and I said, look, if he fights like that, Terrence is gonna catch him. He's leaning in. Yeah. And he's exposing himself too much. And that's the guy that he unfortunately fought.
Yeah, it was one of those fights where I don't know if you felt the same way, but a few rounds in, I'm just like, ugh. Like it was starting to get ugly. It wasn't even fun.
Yeah.
So dominant. Yeah. And he looked like a deer in headlights. When a deer get hit by a car and it's like we're going on the floor and it's trying to get up, but it's hurt. Like that's how he looked.
Yeah, it was over in round 3. You can tell the power between both of them, but KG's right. We both were devastated. It wasn't as close as when Tito lost to Bernard Hopkins, but I'm Puerto Rican, so I Puerto Ricans in boxing is religion.
Yeah, you can go back. You said when mega fights are lopsided, Tito Winky right.
Yeah, that too.
I don't think that was a mega fight because Winky unfortunately never got the amount of fame and stature that he deserved.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It
Yeah,
was
he's
a
good.
big fight, but mega. Like I'm talking like, Hagler Hearns or like that level.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because this was that level.
It
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
Marco, man, it was a pleasure having you, man. Real quick, before we do have to let you go, where can we find you on social media?
It's Marco Boxing, Marco 3_boxing. Again, Marco 3_boxing on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, all that stuff. X, whatever you call it.
Awesome, man. It was a pleasure having you, Marco, man. We're going to talk again soon. Hopefully mid-year we can see what's going on with boxing, and we'll get some insight on all that. Marco talks to all the big dogs in the sport, and so it was a pleasure having you on the Parlay. What's up, guys? Thanks for watching the Parlay. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Everything is right there in the description box. Hit the notification bell, and of course, follow us on all of our platforms. Come on, Boxing Heads. We want to hear from you. KG, before we dip, though, I just want to let you know that I've been having this epiphany recently, and I'm like, I can take you 3 rounds sparring, man. I think I can do it.
You know what Canelo said when Jake Paul said that he could possibly beat him in 3 years? You know what Canelo said? He said, it's good to dream. It's good to dream. Okay? So when you're done dreaming, I want you to wake up and apologize, like Muhammad Ali once said.
It's the Parlay.